Hello there, welcome to today's class. Today's class promises to be also equally exciting. I want to show you how to make your peplum stand. Like you want it to be really firm with the nice curves. So for you to be able to achieve this, you need your material, whatever material you must have cut into a flare. The lining, you need your steel or your crinoline. This actually comes in different sizes. So you can buy this online in any craft shop or in the market. So all you need to do is get your crinoline, whatever size you want, and get your hemming tape, or it's also called the hemming gum. So if you don't know how to cut a flare, I have a video where I showed how to cut your flare. So the kind of flare I have on my table is actually a 360 flare. And I explained in that video how to achieve a fuller flare. So for this tutorial, I'm going to be using a 360 flare. So you need to cut your lining the same size as your material. The only difference is that for you to have best after product, it's better to cut your lining a little bit longer. Then once you've finished sewing the bottom of your flare, you can trim off whatever edges you have on the top. Because if you don't do that, sometimes what happens is when you finish sewing, you find yourself short. You find the lining is not of the same length as your main fabric. Okay, so now to start sewing, I'm going to place my fabric. I'm using Ankara fabric, or the African print. This is the right side. That is the right side of my lining. And I place them together that way. Now I'm going to get my hemming gum and I'm going to place this on the fabric that way. Then I get my crinoline and I place over the hemming gum, so the hemming tape or hemming gum stays on the fabric. And I'm going to get my sewing machine and I'm going to give it a run. Make sure that your pieces are held in place. You can use a pin to hold that, and we're going to give it and start sewing. So when you start sewing, you're going to notice that as you sew, because the hemming gum is straight, the crinoline is straight, you need to move it around, but it's very flexible, so you don't want to worry about that. So we're going to keep going. If you find that you're having problems doing this, you can get a pin and just pin. So make sure that as you sew, you are holding all the pieces together. You don't want any of the pieces left out of the stitches. So you keep going. Take your time. You don't want to rush this. Since you are holding 4 items together, it may be a bit tricky. So just take your time and move. You don't want to be in a hurry. once you've finished sewing, now you want to turn. You need to turn this over, and you need to top stitch. And when you're top stitching, you top stitch on the lining. It's really important to top stitch because you don't want your lining coming out under your blouse or your dress. So you need to top stitch to make this stay in, and also to make the hostel or your crinoline firmer and relaxed. So I'm going to start top stitching now so you can see. Just finished top stitching. Okay, so what we need to do now is we're going to try to iron this out, and you need to observe the way I'm going to iron this, because if you don't iron it properly, this may not be flat. So we need to iron. And you remember we added the hemming tape here. That hemming tape that we added is going to help our crinoline to be more relaxed and to be flat, because it's going to give a kind of hold at this point. So I'm going to get the iron and do some ironing. So before I add this to my top, I'm just going to sew the lining and the main fabric together, and I will cut off the excess. That's our flare. So you can see the way it curls. So you have the flare standing the way you want it to. So it's that simple. So that's what you need to do to get your flare standing. And trending. So if you want your flare to be bigger than this, all you need to do is to cut a bigger flare, or you do 720 or 1440. But you now see the curl and the way your flare can stand. So if you liked my video, please don't forget to give a thumbs up so I can keep making videos. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.